You're listening to the Love Over Addiction podcast. Hey, so today we are going to take a question from one of the women inside our secret Facebook group. And I love this question because St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. And you guys know that I'm constantly telling you, get a plan and get prepared for major holidays, because typically drinking, drug use, addiction tends to be at an all-time high around specific days of the year, usually holidays. So even if they're saying to you, I'm going to be sober, or they've been sober for a long period of time now, I want you to still have a contingency plan, have a plan B in place. Because if you are prepared, then best case scenario, you have a plan that you never had to use, but you have peace in your heart and in your mind that you are in control and that you've thought this through. If the worst case scenario happens, then you can go, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do because I've given this the space and the energy and the thought and the care to be prepared. And you guys, I love you. And this is part of being a responsible woman when you love somebody suffering from addiction. If you are planning on staying, then this is part of the deal. This is what you've signed up for. So this is part of your work. Now, I'm not just going to give you the advice, I'm not going to give you the advice to get prepared and then not help you out, because that's just wrong and cruel. So I'm going to be answering this question about St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to be giving you some helpful tips, but also we have some incredibly wise women in our community, and they have some helpful tips too for you. So this is going to be a good podcast, you guys. I'm really excited for it. There's a woman I've been coaching for several months, and her husband made the incredibly brave choice to get sober. And she said, Michelle, it's exactly what I wanted. I should be happy, but instead I feel so worried he's going to relapse. I can't relax. I don't want to make a mistake that would cause him to go backwards. This lovely woman was never once entertaining the idea to leave, even when her hubby was showing zero signs of getting better. Leaving for her was just not an option she wanted to consider. You guys know that in our community, we never ever do judgment. That's one of the rules. We never try to convince you that leaving is the only answer. And we never ever judge you for staying or leaving. Instead, my job is to teach you the tools you will need in order to get healthy and happy and strong so that you can feel at peace with your decision to stay or leave. Are you curious about the tools we're teaching? You won't find them on the podcast. Go to loveoveraddiction.com/stay-or-go and let us walk alongside of you during this time in your life. Leaving or staying is a really personal choice, and I'm not going to persuade you one way or the other. When you join our new program, you will be perfectly equipped to arrive at the right decision for you. When you join Love Over Addiction, Stay or Go, you will have a sisterhood, your best friends, a strong and encouraging women cheering you on and holding you accountable. You will stop feeling stuck, and you will have all the tools you need to be confident in the very important decisions you need to make to get the life that you want. You will have all the skills to be happy and at peace and feel genuinely hopeful about your future. Again, loveoveraddiction.com/stay or go. I hope to meet you soon. So the question is, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm starting to feel a little anxious. It's a big trigger day for my alcoholic husband with his drinking and my anxiety. How am I supposed to cope with the anxiety? Great question, because don't y'all feel like sometimes anxiety and loving someone with addiction kind of go hand in hand? It's really, really, really hard to get that crazy voice in your head to actually turn off and to feel really grounded and really peaceful and really solid and really confident, which is the opposite of anxiety, when we love somebody that's so stinking unpredictable, right? It's like a roller coaster ride. And so this is how we do it. We get practical. We don't just talk about pie in the sky, fluffy self-help language. We actually talk about tangible, practical things that we can do that are easy, that are not expensive, that just require two things: a commitment on our part to follow through with them, and the courage to change. Because, to quote Dr. Phil, what we've been doing isn't working. And you want to know how I know that? Because you're listening to this podcast right now. And so we need to be willing to admit that what we've been doing and all the effort and all the energy to try and fix them hasn't gotten us very far. And so we need to be willing to learn a different way. And that takes courage. And a lot of people avoid change because they're afraid. But not you. You are courageous, and you've got what it takes to make change because you are listening to this. And change makers love this kind of stuff. They love like a punch list. The ones that are afraid, they hate this because it's actually saying, hey, listen, you're responsible for your life. Non-change makers want to blame everybody else. So I know that if you're listening to me right now and you're getting excited that I'm about to give you tips and that other women are about to give you tips, you have what it takes. You are willing to make changes. You do have the courage. That's the major sign, okay? So, number one, I want you to make fun plans in advance and follow through with them if they decide to join you or not. It is time for you to create your own happiness and not rely on anyone else to help you enjoy your life. You are an empowered woman who can have a good time without your partner.
My suggestion is to make your own plans. I have made plans to meet up with my daughter and have a girls' weekend. Get in touch with some friends and enjoy their company. Don't let anxiety over what he may do ruin your day. Make your own St. Patrick's tradition.
This is our first St. Patrick's Day without my husband here. We've always made our corned beef and cabbage and Irish soda bread, so that's what our kids and I will be doing, and listening to Mandisa and Toby Mac.
Today I took my youngest out for bouncy castles and lunch. We made bangers and mash for the kids and my alcoholic husband. He's out now with friends, and I'm glad he's out because I'm looking forward to a good night's sleep. And then I'll go out for a beach walk with a girlfriend tomorrow.
Tip number 2, don't count the drinks or mark the bottles. Okay? You are not their mother. You are not the judge of their life, and you are not the jury of their life. Keeping track will only drive you crazy. You know they have a problem. And here's the deal, that's all you need to know. One drink is one too many. One type of drug, I don't care if it's marijuana. I don't care whatever it is. It's one too many. if they're dealing with addiction issues. If you see them drinking, or using drugs, I want you to throw your hands up in the air, walk away, create distance, and get busy doing something that makes you happy. Their sobriety is their responsibility. Number 3, if they get drunk, or high or whatever, I want you to go to your safe space. Now, we talked about this. I have an episode a couple weeks ago all about the need for everybody in this community to have their own safe space. And we give you some ideas and some helpful tips on how to create that. You guys, this is the perfect time to use your safe space. I even shared a picture of my safe space, which is a really back-to-back words that are hard to say. I shared a picture of my safe space on the blog. If your loved one starts with embarrassing behavior, or even worse, abusive behavior, then it is absolutely time to remove yourself from the situation. Don't just stand there and take it. Don't take the bait. When they are being rude and nasty and mean, that is addiction trying to bait you into conflict. You're smarter and wiser than that. Don't fall for it. Remove yourself from the situation. I remember one time this happened to us while we were driving, and it usually happened when I was in a confined space, right? And I was kind of trapped in a way, and we were in the car and we were driving, and he was in a nasty mood and he tried to engage with me, and I felt like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I can't go anywhere. Like, I can't remove myself from this situation. And so what I did was I literally got out of the car at a red light. Like, I literally just opened the door and got out and I walked home. We were close to home. But like, go to whatever great lengths you need to go to remove yourself from that safe space. I mean, from that, argument or unsafe situation, right? Like, if it was today, because I did that years and years ago, I could have called Uber. I could have grabbed my cell phone and called a friend to come pick me up if I wasn't close to my house. So you have options. If you are willing to get creative and think kind of outside the box, you always have options. But staying engaged in an argument or staying in a situation where you are feeling physically threatened is not okay. So have the courage to remove yourself. Have the courage to retreat. And if you have kids in the house or kids in that situation, take them to your safe space. Lock the door. Or what I always say is leave the house. You don't need them to witness that type of dysfunction. Keeping a quiet mouth. It's one of my biggest struggles in life. Staying quiet is sometimes, it is the healthiest choice, but other times we need to speak up. So how do we know when we should say something about their drinking, drugs, poor choices, or hurtful behavior? And how do we know when we should walk away and keep a quiet mouth? If you're struggling with that very question, we got you covered. Just go to loveoverdiction.com/130 and you will get a free guide sheet with a quiz, because we like to keep it fun. Addiction doesn't always need to be depressing. This free quiz will help you arrive at the perfect decision to speak up or just let it go. loveoverdiction.com/130 to get your free guide sheet. Tip number 4. And this is good practice, like learning how to, navigate small holidays like St. Patrick's Day, or another big one that we just did was Super Bowl Sunday. This is good practice for bigger holidays. Because, like I said earlier, holidays are usually excuses to overdrink or party too much. If you can master the skills that I just mentioned for St. Patrick's Day, you'll be a pro by the time Christmas comes around. If you're going to stay in your relationship with your loved one, then this strategy is something you need to learn to have a good time during the holidays, if they get sober or not. Your job is not to help them get sober. Your job is to accept your reality. Big one. That's a big moment there. Accept your reality and plan accordingly. Don't settle for just hoping and praying that they will choose not to party or not have too much to drink, or that they're going to keep their promises of remaining sober. When you do that, when you're just relying on hoping and praying, then you're giving your power to somebody else. You're literally leaving your happiness in somebody else's hands and saying, okay, I can be happy, I can have a good time, as long as they follow through with their word, with their promise. And you guys know a good way to predict the future is to look at the past. How many times have they broken their promises to stay sober? So chances are, if they haven't had the ability to remain sober in the past, they probably won't in the future. I am not saying this to be Debbie Downer. I'm not saying this to depress you. I'm saying this to make you wiser. I'm saying this reality check so that you can become equipped. And here's the deal, you guys. If they get sober permanently, wonderful, terrific, great. What a great surprise. But quit banking on it. Become educated. Take your power back. You are better than that. Tip number 5. If they don't come home and they choose to celebrate with other people, even better. Then you can do your own thing and have fun without worrying about them. Let them go. A lot of you guys get so upset when they don't come home on time, or they're partying with other people. Do you really want to be around them when they're partying? Like, how does that help you? How does that make your life better if they're in your presence and you're witnessing their out of controlness? Like, let them go. They're not worried about you. So many times, and I used to do this too, my husband wouldn't come home. Sometimes he wouldn't even call to let me know he wasn't coming home. And I'd sit on the couch and I'd worry. And I'd follow through with the actions of taking care of my kids. But in the back of my head, I was always just angry. I was worried. I was, calling 50 times, text messaging, trying to get a hold of him, trying to control a situation that I had no control over, which was him. What do you think he was doing? Do you think he's literally sitting at a bar or hanging out with his friends worried about me? Worried about the kids? No, he wasn't. He was having a good time. He was out probably laughing, getting drunk, getting high, hanging out with these, not so great people. He's not thinking about me. If he was thinking about me, he would have called. He would have picked up the phone. He would have been courteous and thoughtful enough to come home. So if they're not thinking about you, then you need to stop thinking and worrying about them and get on with it. They're off having a good time. So don't waste your time sitting around and stewing and worrying about them. Create your own good time. Look, I know I've been kind of bold in this podcast, but here's the truth. You still want to be with them, okay? And that's a whole nother podcast that I could go into. But the truth is, if you didn't want to be with them, you would have left. So there is a part of you that's staying with them because you, despite all of the pain, despite all of, the heartache, You still love them. And that's okay. I'm never, ever going to teach you that you should leave and that's the only way. Stay with them. If it makes you happy, if you feel like you're ready to, accept the reality of your life, accept the consequences, and you want to stay with them, then that is absolutely okay. But this staying comes with a price, right? And one of those prices that it comes with is that you never know when things are going to get out of control. You never know when they are going to start to drink or use drugs. Your loved ones, as good they are, we know, we've said it 1,000 times, we love incredibly gifted, talented, good people. But they are unreliable because addiction is unreliable. Some days are great and some days can be awful. And the thing is, you're going to have to get good at living your life in a manner that does not depend on their sobriety. And if you can do that, you can have a happy future with or without them. Don't stay stuck. Don't allow yourself to feel sorry for yourself for too long. It's okay to feel sad. I'm not saying that. But you are a fighter. You are an achiever. You are a dreamer. You've got everything you need in order to make this a great future. And it has absolutely 0% to do with your loved one getting sober or not. Okay? I believe in you. I am your biggest fan, and I want to be that voice in your head. And here's one more thing I'm going to leave you with. I want to be your friend that is the voice in your head when that addiction voice, that negative, trash-talking, yucky addiction voice gets inside your head. I want to be the voice that challenges the addiction voice. I want to be louder than that addiction voice for you. I want you to listen to my podcasts. I want you to buy the programs and listen to them over and over again, so much so that you can almost finish my sentences. Because that's the only way that you're going to drown out that addiction voice. And here's the deal. I'm not trying to be God, and I'm not trying to be that voice in your life forever. I am here temporarily for this season of your life to get you, to help pick you up, to get you walking down the right path that will change your life. I'm not here in your life forever. You won't need me forever. You just need me now. And I hope and pray that I can be that positive influence in your life, that biggest cheerleader that says, you got this. You can do this. I remember I signed up my brother for a half marathon for Christmas one year. And the funny thing is he wasn't a runner. But he had just moved to a new city and he was like, I just had this idea. I'm like, you know what? He needs a hobby. He needs a sense of accomplishment. He needs goals. So I signed him up for this half marathon, which was kind of bold. And he did it. Like in 6 months, he was running a half marathon and he was living in Miami at the time. And I was in Tampa. And so I got all the kids up early in the morning and we drove to Miami. And I did not know at the time that marathons start at like 5 a.m. So we actually went the night before, but we had to get up at like 4. I think we got up at 3:30, and my husband and our 6 little kids, and we decorated the van. We had this like Scooby-Doo van because what else are you driving your kids around with? And so I got like that marker that you can write on your car windows. And I wrote like, go Tristan, and run Tristan, run. It was so fun. And we decorated our car for him. And we got up really early in the morning and we found a spot on the streets of Miami and we waited. And we waited. and we waited because, again, not having ever run a marathon or attended a marathon, I had no idea that like, oh, they don't come around like 15 minutes after like the gun goes off. Like there's thousands of people running this marathon and you're going to be waiting for like a good hour. But here's the deal. I have never, well, I have, but it was definitely one of the top 15 or 20 moments in my life when I saw runners coming around the corner. All of a sudden, I just felt like I'm going to cheer these people on. I could never run a marathon. Like, this is huge. They are accomplishing so much. And so I started going crazy, like yelling and you can do it and fantastic. And like everybody had these like bibs. That's what I learned they were called, with their numbers on them. And everyone who entered the race got a different number. And so I would call out their number. I'd be like, hey, 5372, you're doing so well. Keep it up. And like, they would smile. A lot of them appreciated it. I don't know. Some people might have thought I was weird, but like, I just had so much passion. I didn't want to leave. I saw my brother. I was so overjoyed. And then I stayed there with the kids, and some of my kids got really into it and cheering for them. Well, that's what I am doing for you. You are the runner, and you are running the race of your life right now. And like all marathons, there is a finish line. This is not going to be forever. But you have chosen to participate in a marathon because you are trying to get better. You are listening to this. You've joined the programs. This is your race. And I want to be that person on the sidelines that is the loudest, most obnoxious, enthusiastic person for you. So keep running, sister. You are doing a great job. You are in the race. There is a finish line. Dig deep. Know that you've got it, one step at a time. I love you, and I will talk to you next week. The other day, I was driving with my oldest son, and my podcast came on, the one you are listening to now. And yes, I do subscribe to my own podcast, but I don't listen to it. Actually, I do listen to it every week to make sure that it's okay and I'm giving you quality content, but I'm not like listening to it for vanity purposes. Let's just say that, okay? Anyways, point is, my son picked up my phone to change it because, trust me, if you know my kids, they will tell you in their opinion, we talk about drugs and alcohol abuse perhaps a little too much. Now, in my opinion, there's never a too much. But he started reading out loud when he grabbed my phone to turn it off some of the reviews for the podcast that you have kindly left for us. Mom, these are really good, he said in kind of a surprised tone. If you have teenagers, you know what tone I'm talking about. But genuinely, he was thrilled. So thank you so much for those of you who have taken the time to leave a review. You not only made my day, but you really have helped my son see that his childhood pain from having a biological father who is addicted to drugs and alcohol, that pain is being used to help many others. And as I watched him out of the corner of my eye continuing to read your words, which he proceeded to do for the next 15 minutes, I could see from the smile on his face, there was healing. Thank you for continuing to leave us reviews. They not only help other women know about this free resource, but as I just mentioned, they are helping our family continue to heal.